Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, chilling with my co-host, Mr. TC Stills. Check out the intro, and we will be right back.
Y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a threat. Careful with your life, cause you know that it's okay. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up. My foot is on your neck. Take my word for it. It's a promise and a threat. Okay. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a careful with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up. My foot is on your neck. Take my word for it. It's a promise and a threat. Go.
Good morning, Yankees universe. Like I said, welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, July 27th. I'm your guy Hector, always joined by my co-host, the lovely Mr. TC Stills, aka I am a Steelers fan that talks about the Yankees. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to all you Yankee fans out there. And wake up and get your coffee. TC, aka I'm a Steelers fan that talks about the Yankees. How you feeling?
That's right. That's right. Go Steelers. Die hard. Feeling good. No, feeling good. Hey, we got a victory. Brother. Yeah, we got a victory. Hey, whatever. Trade deadline's here. Let's make some moves. You know, let's Judge is coming back, I hear. It's a rumor. Through the grapevine. I don't know.
There. That's a little Tweety bird going around, spreading that news around.
So hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, TC. You know, shout out to everybody that was in the chat last night with my guy Pete Simonetti as we was calling the game on Game Season Live. We got 22 people in the building. If you guys can, let's run up the likes on the live real quick. We got a special guest today, Stacy from Locked On Yankees. Big fan of their work, so you know it's going to be an amazing conversation. Let's do a little bit of the roll call before we continue, TC. We got our guy Shane McNeil in the building.
That's Shane, how you doing?
Unpopular opinion, my guy Gio's in the building. G, how you doing?
Friend of the show.
TC Stills, how you doing, baby? Sean Browning is in the building. My guy James Cook is in the building.
James?
NFE, salute, 3 capital S's. And you know this is my favorite, Mr. 01LS1Z2ADABS. How you doing? Anthony Garcia, what it do? My guy Vikings, who says I never say hello to him. Vikings, good morning to you, good sir. How you doing?
Morning, Vikings.
Stevie Pooh is in the building. My YouTube father, Steve. How you doing? Steve? Because my actual father doesn't like talking to me. So Steve, he's my stepdad right now for YouTube.
That's all right.
The West Coast Yankee fan is in the building.
Hey, that's a West Coast Yankee fan right here.
We appreciate everybody for tuning in.
KC is back from his cruise. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
KC is here.
Hopefully he stole some bars of soaps or some blankets off of the cruise ship. I heard
he's looking for the treasure in Atlantis and the Bahamas. That's where he went.
But Uncle Grandpa Tats is in the building. My brother Rod Thompson is in the building. Salute, 3 capital S's. Like I said, there are 30 people in the building. If you guys can, let's smack that like button for your boys. And before I bring up the special guest, I got to switch up the panel, because that's how we do with the special guests. They have to have the nice background. But let's bring up Stacy from Locked On Yankees. Stacy, how you doing? Good morning.
Morning, Stacy.
I'm going to apologize. I had to mute
my
mic because lawn guys showed up at the most inopportune time. So
it's crazy. It's crazy. The drills, the lawn. Come on, Stacy. What's going on in the world? But Stacy, good morning. Like I said backstage, thank you for taking time out this morning. Big fans of your work over on Locked On Yankees and the Locked On Network in general. So I appreciate you, Stacy, for taking time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you asking.
And for those that are in chat that aren't familiar with you and the work that you do, let them know about you. You know, you work on Locked On Yankees, but how'd you get started covering the team? Go ahead.
I started blogging in 2011 and worked up to, doing it for free. And then worked up to getting money gigs. And I wrote for Baseball Prospectus. I wrote for the Hardball Times, wrote a couple of pieces for ESPN. I even wrote 5 articles in a commemorative Derek Jeter retirement magazine in 2014.
Good,
And it was sold all over the place. People kept taking pictures of it, like at Walmart or Target, any like drugstore magazine racks that they had, they showed up there. So that was my crowning achievement, simply because it was published a couple months before my father passed away. So he was able to see our last name, thank you, in glossy print. He was very proud of that. So but he's the reason I'm a Yankee fan. So I think that's my top achievement there.
Shout out to your pops. For me, my mom's is a diehard Met fan. But the reason why, and I always tell the story, the reason why I'm a Yankee fan is because of my mother. Growing up in that household, she didn't let me root for her team. She wanted me to root for the Yankees so she could have that rivalry inside of the household. So my mother pushed me to become a Yankee fan, even though she was a diehard Met fan. But that's a bit funny right there. Shout out to everybody. We've got some more people joining the chat. Sean Brown.
Big time Jerry's in the house.
Big time Jerry's in the building. FJ, how you doing? Again, we got 37 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button for your boys over here. Stacy, I don't want to assume, even though I listen to you a lot, but I don't want the chat to assume that we know how you feel about the Yankees right now on July 27th. So let us know, how are you feeling about this team? Do you have any trust going down the stretch? What's your thoughts?
I feel better knowing that some guys are coming back, but I feel like this team has shown us who they are over the past 365 days, because they had that hot start in 2022, but since then they've been mid. And I think that's basically what they are. Can they make a run for the final wild card spot? Of course. I mean, there's so many teams bunched up in there that anyone can make it. But we're Yankee fans. We don't want that. We want to know that this team is going to kick ass and take numbers like they did in 09. And we haven't seen that since 09. And frankly, I'm sick of it. And I don't want this whole, the playoffs are a crapshoot. If we make it in, who knows what'll happen. No, you're the Yankees. Go out and buy people.
Point blank.
Like you're supposed to, like stop doing this whole, there was no left fielder market. We couldn't do anything. Yeah, you could have tried to do something in the offseason. Stop. You're putting guys who don't even play the outfield in the outfield, and then you're wondering why things are happening during the games. Like
yes, and it's the age-old adage that baseball, the ball's gonna find you, right? You could get away with playing someone out of position for a weekend or for a couple of days or maybe 1 or 2 series. You can't do that for 162 games. The ball is going to find you out there, whether that's IKF. Whether that's Bowers, whoever's out there playing out of position, it's going to find you. Billy McKinney, go ahead, Stace.
Yeah, I have a story, just a quick one. My friend was playing softball for her company, and they were a guy short, and she's like, "We're going to stick you in right field." I hadn't played. I'm blind in this eye. It's lazy. It's been like this since I was born. My mom never let me play baseball or softball, even though I wanted to. So I was like, okay, just stick me in right field. It'll be fine. Where did the first batted ball go? Right to me.
Yeah.
Right to I was able to catch it, thank God, even though I have no hand-eye coordination, and I actually hit a double when I was playing. But that's the point. The ball came I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like seriously? Yeah.
No, the same thing happened to me playing softball. I worked at this pizzeria called Lombardi's, and we decided to go play softball as like a workers coming together. So they put me in right field, the same thing, and the ball gets hit to me, and it's one of those that I'm running on my heels, and I fall backwards. So I'm like, I think I should retire from playing softball for the rest of my life. But
that's not how you go back on a ball, Hector.
I know, TC. All right, you don't gotta show off real quick. But you got TC brought up the fact, and you brought up the fact that the Yankees have been mid ever since last year after getting to that hot start, and over the past couple of days, it's been the battle of the average teams between the Yankees and the Mets. Yankees win a big one. Shout out to Carlos Rodon for getting his first win as a Yankee. He almost went 6 innings. I swear to God, when Boone comes out there, I want to throw something at him. Every time he comes out there, I want to throw something.
They got to handcuff him to the bench.
They got to do something. Matter of fact, you saw the movie Little Giants. You remember the tar? They just got to put that on Boone's hand and just stick him on the rail so he can't move. He just got to stay stationary in that position. But Stacy, I'm gonna start off with you, and I'm gonna throw it over to TC Stills. Before we do that, we got a few super chats. We got my brother NYY News numero uno, Ruben, good morning. How you doing, brother? Uncle Grandpa Tats as well with a $4.99 super chat. Big shout out to the Morning Brew for highlighting the women covering the game and all the channels, giving the ladies their rightful spots. Absolutely, this is a very toxic men-controlled environment, and we want to open it up for different people to have their different perspectives on the team. But Stacy, I'm gonna start it off with you. What's your thoughts on this 2-game series with the Mets? And I'm gonna throw it to TC afterwards. Go ahead, Stace.
I mean, like we said, it's the battle of mids, although the Mets are worse. Which I love because, I'm not a Yankee fan that hates the Mets. I'm really not. I wasn't raised to hate the Mets because I have cousins on Long Island who rooted for the Mets. My dad used to take them to Mets games and stuff. So I was raised to hate the Royals, the Red Sox, and the Dodgers because I'm old and, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah,
so
70s.
Those were my rivals when I was when I was a kid. Those were the teams I didn't like. So, it's fine. The Yankees are horrible with runners in scoring position. Last night, thank God they got 3 runs. Thank God Rodon remembered how to pitch. But they just showed everyone how bad they are with runners in scoring position. They're number 1 in strikeouts in the league. I think they're 25th in batting average and 26th in something else that I can't remember off the top of my head. They're just awful. They're absolutely awful. And it's just a slog watching this team play. But I'm glad that they split. So the whole series is a split. They can't trash talk us. We can't really trash talk them. And we just move on to bigger and better things like Baltimore and Tampa.
TC, same question going your way. What was your thoughts over these last 2 days?
Just probably exactly what I expected. A battle of teams that actually play to lose. I mean, they give the games away. I mean, honestly, the base running mistakes, the fielding mistakes, the blunders, everywhere. Honestly, these teams don't want to win. They give the game away. I mean, yeah, the Mets put up 9 runs the other day, but yesterday they got shut down. Our bullpen, did what it's supposed to do, shut the door. So, shout out to them. But our offense is still, stuck in the mud. I mean, they just cannot come through with a big hit. It just seems like it's a sac fly or a wild pitch or a ground out double play scores a run. I mean, no excitement. It's just hard to watch. It really is hard to watch. And we got Tampa, Orioles, and the Astros coming up. And we cannot play like this against them. We're going to get smoked. So hopefully, things change this week. It's just same old Yankees.
When you try to find a bright spot, right, and you look at the Mets series, yes, we got embarrassed the first game. We were a lot closer at the end when it comes to the score, but watching the game, you felt like it was 10-0 the entire game.
Yeah.
But when it comes to over the past 5 games, we are 4-1 over the last 5 games. If there's a bright spot to look at, like you said, we got Baltimore, Tampa, and the Houston Astros coming in. The trade deadline is next week, Tuesday. So I think the team is waiting to see what happens against the Baltimore Orioles and that first game against Tampa to see what they're gonna do. It's not what I would do. The Angels last night, they made some moves, and I think the Yankees, they need to jump on in as soon as they can. Yeah, no more Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's off the market. There's rumors that, they're eyeing on the guy that I was wanting for the Yankees to go after, Candelario from the Nationals. So you got to watch out. Stacy brought up the fact that the Angels, that third wild card spot, it's up for grabs. Whether it's the Yankees, whether it's the Angels, whether it's the Seattle Mariners, that third wild card spot is up to grabs. So somebody's going to have to make a move, whether that be the Yankees, whether that be the Angels. But somebody in this front office, they need to step up and be a vocal leader going into the trade deadline. But when you look at it, Yankees versus Mets, yes, battle of the mid-level teams, the inner city rival. Like Stacy said, I'm not one that's going to totally shit on the Mets just because I have family members that are Met fans. And I feel that the rivalry in the city is 100 times better when both teams are doing good, right? Back in the early 2000s when they had Beltran and Reyes and Delgado, that was a time to be a New York sports fan when it comes to baseball. Other than that, it's just been a total wash. But Stacy, I want to ask you, Carlos Rodon, he was hiding that star patch. I'm not sure if you peeped that or after the game if you saw that, but that insurance patch, he was hiding it. What's your thoughts on Carlos Rodon channeling his inner David Wells and hiding that insurance patch?
I thought that was really funny. I love that he has the jersey unbuttoned because I know it pisses people off because I'm not one of those traditional people. Look at me. I'm wearing a Yankee hat with flowers and I do this just to piss people off.
Get the pitchfork. Stacy got flowers on the hat. Get the pitchforks.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid. My first Subway Series game was at Shea in 1998 and I wore my red Puff Daddy Yankees hat because red's my favorite color. And my dad was so pissed at me. He's like, why did you buy that? Why would you not wear a traditional hat? He was so angry with me. But yeah, I love it. I love his attitude. I didn't mind the kiss off in Anaheim. I thought it was really funny. I know people were calling for his head on FAN and wanted the whole stadium to boo him last night. Thank God they didn't. He looked a lot better last night. That sequence that he had to Alonso to strike him out, I couldn't believe he threw that third slider. I was like, good for you, dude. If that pitch is working for you, nice. So yeah, no, I like his attitude, and I'm just hoping he keeps improving because if he keeps improving, if the offense just gets a little better, bullpen stays the way they are because they had a rough patch, things will be okay. But as you said, they cannot wait to see what they do against Baltimore. They need to make moves now because, as you said, the Angels made a move last night. The Yankees can't sit there and wait for guys to get off the board because there are not that many people to go after. So it's almost like the same thing with the offseason with left. Oh, well, there wasn't really a market for left field. It's going to be the same thing. Proactive. And they're going to make the same excuse if they don't make a big trade by Tuesday. And I'm going to be really annoyed.
No, so I'm right there with you. And when you look at that trade that the Angels pulled off getting Giolito, when you look at the prospects they gave up their second best prospect and their third best prospect in their farm system. And if you were to look at the Yankees, that would be the Yankees giving up Austin Wells and Spencer Jones. And I'm not sure if
too much.
Brian Cashman will make that, but you got to spend in order to play. If you're at the casino, you can't be scared to spend money in order to play. Go ahead, Stacy.
But I think to be fair, I think they're 2 and 3 in their system, but they're not that high in the top 100 overall. So I think some people were wondering what the hell the White Sox were doing in that situation because you're not really getting much back. And I feel bad for White Sox fans. Chicago's the third biggest market in the country, and they're just, what are they doing? They're a year or a year and a half away from being really good. And why are you punting?
They had some promise.
That division is still winnable because they're all so bunched together that they could go on a run and do something. So I'm surprised they gave up the way they did, but what are you going to do? I kind of wanted Lucas Giolito, and I'd said that before the season started. I kind of was hoping that he would come to the Yankees and the Yankees could not fix him, but just being with the Yankees, because I know he likes talking about pitching, that him and Garrett Cole would be like feeding off each other, and I thought it would be a good move. So I was kind of upset the Angels got him.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Listen, you can never turn down a pitcher who was an all-star at one point, right? There always got to be something there left in the tank. TC, what's your thoughts on that trade? Before you do that, TC, I want to shout out the chat real quick. Alex Valerio is in the building. My guy Alex, how you doing? Mark T Makers in the building. Acevedo, Senor Acevedo's in the building. Justin Smith, how you guys doing? We got 45 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button. Let's run up the likes. We got 86 on the last video, 100 on the video before that. So let's run up the likes on this video. Go ahead, TC Stills. What was your thoughts on the Angels making that trade last night around like midnight too? It came out real late.
Yeah. It was a shock to me, actually. I mean, because the Angels aren't really buyers to me overall. I mean, I haven't seen them go, all in since way back, probably in the early 2000s. But it shows that they're going all in this year. You're keeping Ohtani. I mean, Mike Trout's right around the corner from coming back, and they're looking at it like, hey, we can do this now. We got the best player in baseball as of right now. So.
But why now? Why suddenly now? They've wasted Trout. He's had 12 at-bats in the playoffs, and it only happened in 2014. Ohtani came out, a couple of weeks ago and said how much it sucks to lose, and this suddenly lit a fire under the Angels' asses. Like, what? Yeah. Why did you wait this long to do something? Because even if my perfect scenario for the Angels, no offense to them, but I just hate their ownership, and I hate that they've wasted
right there with you, Stacy.
Two of the best players in baseball. You never see Ohtani on national TV because who wants to watch the Angels? No one wants to watch them, even though they have two of the best players who have ever put on a uniform, because they don't surround them with good players. And now all of a sudden they want to do it. So I kind of want them to miss the playoffs, like go like 82 and 80 and just miss the playoffs, and then have Ohtani leave anyway, because he's like, well, forget you guys. Like, you didn't try, like you didn't do anything the whole time I was there. So I'm not gonna.
And if my memory serves me correctly, the last time the Angels even made a trade at the trade deadline to acquire someone was when they traded for Mark Teixeira with the Braves. That's the last time at the trade deadline they made any trades that were impactful.
That 08, 2008?
That was 2008 before he became a free agent in the Yankees. So that was a long time ago.
Well, that's how the Angels got Trout.
Yeah, exactly. There's an alternate universe out there that Mike Trout and Miguel Cabrera both play for the New York Yankees, but unfortunately, we don't live in that timeline right now.
Actually, what I'm thinking too now is I don't know if there were rumors that Artie Moreno was selling the team. He agreed to sell the team.
He was thinking about it.
Yeah,
he was thinking. Or he put out feelers, and I guess no one was biting. And because Steve, my co-host, is an Angels fan. But he's balanced, and he doesn't trash talk or anything. He's very good about the Yankees. But he said they were so excited that at the prospect of Artie Moreno possibly selling, that he was like, there were a couple of years I didn't really feel like watching the team, and once I thought he was going to sell them, he was like, oh, I want to start watching them again. And then Moreno pulled back and was like, nope, I'm going to keep running them. So Angels fans want him gone.
The big, from what I was reading, I think the big hurdle when it came to him trying to sell was the fact that he owes that local municipality so much money back, right? So even if he was to try to sell the team, he would still have a bill that needs to get paid before the team gets to be sold. So that's the issue that's holding back that deal, and that's why he pulled back. But like you said, it was a couple of weeks ago that Shohei came out vocally and said that, listen, I don't like all this losing. And like you said, why wait this long? Why wait till him about to become a free agent? Mike Trout going on foul territory. Shout out to our friends over there on foul territory, saying that he's going to try everything that he can to make sure that Shohei Ohtani returns to the Angels. I'm not sure. I don't see it just because of
their last hurrah, I think.
How bad they've handled that entire Shohei Ohtani situation. They fumbled the bag. Let's be honest. Shohei Ohtani, he's not just a generational talent. He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. And you fumbled the bag not putting the pieces around him and Trout to get them to the postseason at least once. So like you said, Stacy, hopefully they miss the playoffs just so we could just laugh in Artie's face.
I know. I mean, that's so bad because now that I said that, something bad will happen to the Yankees. Let me knock on wood that doesn't
knock on wood. Find wood. Somebody find wood.
Enough has happened bad already. Can it get worse? I mean,
there's a few chats that I want to highlight real quick. Jerry Cadell, Big Time Jerry, said he's a big fan of you, Stacy. He said, Stacy, the last time there were any significance of a club was 2002, talking about the Angels. Who else we got in the chat? Acevedo said, we need Judge, Cole, and say the same thing. Maybe Cashman sit them down for 5 games. I'm not sure what you mean towards the end, but we definitely need Judge. Uncle Tat says, Artie thinks making all these moves would convince Ohtani to resign, which is such a pipe dream. Absolutely. Talking about Aaron Judge, some rumors came out yesterday. Some salt got tossed out there that Aaron Judge will be coming back versus the Orioles. Stacy, I'm going to throw it to you.
Tomorrow.
Do you have any faith that Aaron Judge will be back this weekend versus the Baltimore Orioles? Go ahead, Stace.
I think so, because this is like a desperation move at this point to get him back. I think it's too soon. I think he's going to risk further injury because, he's going to need surgery on that toe eventually.
Yes.
What they need to hope for is that he hits home runs every time so he can just jog around the bases and not have to, expend any energy and, not risk hurting that toe again, which is never going to happen. I don't like this move. I understand it, but I don't like it. I don't feel like he's ready yet. And it just scares me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. TC, I want to get your thoughts before I chime in on it. What's your thoughts? Any concerns about Judge coming back? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, at this point, just him coming back could give them the spark, and they need it. Him sitting out the rest of the season is basically telling the Yankee fans, we're done. We're going to sell, and it's over. This gives at least the fans say, hey, Judge is back, gives them some hope, but he's not going to be 100%. He's already told everybody. But even 75% of Judge is better than what we have right now. Honestly, this team is just hard to watch. So regardless, he's going to need surgery in the offseason. So why don't we see what he can give us for the next 40 games or so? I mean, he's going to DH probably half those games. If he hits some home run, sparks the offense a little bit, gives them some confidence. I don't know. I like it to the fact that they're not giving up on this season. You know, I would say if he wasn't playing the season's over. But hey, he wants to play, and we always complain about players not gutting through injuries. Always, fingernail and they're out for 6 months or something. These guys are, they have a bad, reputation. So Judge doing this, gutting it out. I mean, going through a wall for this team. I mean, come on. So he's the captain. He wants to be on that field, and I like it. I hope they go on a run. I really do.
Yeah, that war hasn't been open since the 60s. So basically, the last time that war was opened up was when women couldn't have a bank account. That's the last time that war was opened up over there in Dodger Stadium. But no, when you look at it, I agree with you, Stacy. I think they're kind of rushing him back. But I feel it's what TC said about them not wanting to lose a season or lose the fan base for the rest of the year. Because a report came out a couple of weeks ago that they're trying to get under the luxury tax threshold, which was a gut punch. And then the Star Insurance logo literally 2 days right afterwards. So they have to do something at the trade deadline. Now, I would love for them to get Juan Soto. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Juan Soto is going to get traded.
Yeah, that's a dream.
If he does, it's going to happen in the offseason, so we can all dream. So we got to look at the B tier or the C tier. Cody Bellinger is a name that pops out. I know Lane Thomas from the Nationals. That's somebody that I was high on. Candelario, but the Angels are eyeing him right now. I think when it comes to Aaron Judge coming back, like you said, Stacy, I think it's more of a precautionary measure, like TC says, not to lose the rest of the season. When he comes back, I think he's going to be primarily a DH. We've seen Giancarlo Stanton playing in the outfield every game. I don't think that's by accident. I think they're trying to get him used to playing in right field. That way Judge could be more of a DH when he comes back. He doesn't have to put all that pressure on that toe. So it's a wait and see approach when it comes to Judge, but even 20% of Aaron Judge is better than what we have out there.
I was going to say
20% of Aaron Judge. Go ahead, Stacy.
Yeah, I was going to say when you said 75%, I'm like, let's be real. I mean, 20% of Aaron Judge is better than what they're trotting out there nightly.
No,
I overestimated.
definitely. Also, we got 55 people that are in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button. My friend Mitchell Fernandez is in the building. He said Rizzo and Giancarlo can't be number 3 and 4 in this lineup. I agree. That was going to be my next question. Stacy, I'm going to throw it to you and then to TC. When it comes to Rizzo and Stanton, how much longer do you think the Yankees have to wait before we break them up in the lineup?
Judge coming back?
No, well, besides that, well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think Judge coming back. The thing that bothers me about the lineup, and I kind of get it because guys are hurt but I miss the days of when you knew what the lineup was going to be.
Yeah.
You had Jeter was toward the top. You had A-Rod in the cleanup spot. You had Matsui. You had Giambi. You had there was like a set order of guys, and you just knew every night. Like there wasn't really a deviation from it. Yeah, and I kind of miss those days because every day, there's a new leadoff hitter. There's a new number 2. Like he's constantly fiddling with the lineup, and baseball players want consistency, and I feel like Boone. How many seasons are we into this? Like he needs to get better at. I mean, I get that he doesn't have the lineup that he wants, but there's too much fiddling around. But yeah, like the other day that he had Stanton 2, right? Like there was a lineup where Stanton was 2, and I was like, what? And I don't know what he's doing. I really don't. But they really do need to be split. I feel like I don't know who needs to be 5th and who needs to be 3rd, but someone else needs to be in the 4 slot. Because those two back to back with the way they're not hitting, it can't be. Yeah. And it's just so weird how they fell off after like Judge left. I don't understand how they went from being okay to being terrible. This team has 54 wins? What are they up to? How on earth have they won that many games with this offense being one of the worst? They're one of the worst offenses in baseball. It's crazy.
It's our pitching staff. When you look at the numbers, Stacy, I think the Yankees, we are 46 or 45 and 13 or 45 and 12 when we score 4 runs or more.
4 or more. Yeah.
4 or more runs. Yeah. Right. So majority of our losses is because we can't score any runs.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
when we're losing 2-0, it feels like we're losing 10-0 or 20-0.
Right. Yeah.
It
Like
feels
another
so
team will
bad.
score 2 and you think, all right, well, this is
Yeah.
over because they're not going to be able to do anything.
Also, you guys in the chat, Celso put in there, but this is the link for Locked On Yankees. If you guys can, please give them support. Make sure you sub to that channel and make sure you follow what they have going on over there. But no, I agree with you, Stacy. I don't remember the last time the Yankees had an offense that's looked this bad. Right. I don't think anyone had it on their bingo cards that IKF was going to be the leadoff hitter last night. I don't think anybody thought about that. When you guys were talking about potential Yankee lineups, nobody had IKF leading off for the Yankees versus the New York Mets last night. But no, it's a roller coaster. It's like a wait and see approach. Is basically that it feels like they're putting names in a bag, shaking it and pulling it out to say, all right, he's going to be the lead. He's going to be number 2. He's going to be number 3. And I've said this so many times. And I love Anthony Rizzo. Don't get me wrong. I know he's a leader in that clubhouse. He does a lot of work off the field when it comes to that community in the Bronx that's over there. But when it comes to Anthony Rizzo, at this stage of his career, he is not a 3-hole hitter. He is not a 3-hole hitter. He has to be number 5 or 6. Giancarlo Stanton, I see West Coast Yankee fan. He brings it up. And I'm going to ask you, Stacy, if the Dodgers don't sign Ohtani in the offseason, do you see a possibility that the Dodgers try trading for Stanton and have him as their DH? I know Yankee fans will love that, but when it comes to Stanton's contract, when you look at it, over the next few years, the Marlins, they pay $10 million each season. So the Yankees aren't paying the full price. They're paying $25 million. If the Yankees can agree to pay $10 million, just like the Marlins, I think the Dodgers will be interested for Giancarlo Stanton just only at $15 million a season.
Yeah, I think that would be the only way if the Yankees agreed to be like, okay, we'll take some of the money off your hands because otherwise, no. Who the hell would want to take that on?
No, you're not going to pay $35 or $25 million for the production that Giancarlo Stanton puts out there. But $15 million, a team can live with $15 million for what he puts out there for Giancarlo Stanton. Just saying hypothetically.
Plus, he'd be home. You know, he grew up going to Dodger Stadium. There might be some sort of
he has great numbers there.
Awakening there. Yeah. Like that could possibly happen.
When you look at his numbers, he hit the most home runs against the New York Mets, 38 home runs. But when you look at his highest batting average, it's in Dodger Stadium. He's hitting well over 315 whenever he plays at Dodger Stadium. So being back home, like you said, that home cooking may be good for him. The churros on the side of the road may be good for Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, tacos.
Yeah, but TC, what's your thoughts about that, the Stanton idea before we switch it to the next topic?
No, I mean, we know how guys do when they go to another team. I mean, they flourish. So Stanton going to the Dodgers, I mean, that'll probably rejuvenate his career. But as far as the lineup having Rizzo, Stanton back-to-back, no, they got to split that up. I mean, Boone he doesn't have too many choices at the top of that lineup. Yeah. I mean, you mess around with Volpe and maybe Peraza up there 1-2 or put LeMahieu second. But what do you do with third and fourth? I mean, who do you really have? You have Bader, you have Glaber. I mean, maybe you move Rizzo and Stanton 5th and 6th. I mean, but the way LeMahieu has been hitting, he's a perfect 2-hole hitter, and he was our leadoff hitter when Judge was there. So Boone's really just got his hands behind his back. I mean, he really doesn't have much. I know he, tinkers with the lineup every single day, and it frustrates the crap out of me. But I mean, with the guys that are the production, is just, what do you do? I mean, honestly, what do you do? Hey, we got Judge coming back. Maybe we get Bellinger. Maybe that triggers the lineups in a certain way. Who knows? I mean, we got guys in the minors that definitely could help. Florial is, the guy is never going to get a shot, but I mean, that guy could instantly be our leadoff or number 2 hitter and play good defense and left. But they won't do that. It's common sense move. They don't do that type of stuff.
I've said this: a common sense and the Yankees front office don't belong in the same sentence. TC, when are you going to learn?
Yeah,
they just don't belong in the same sentence.
What am I doing?
Stacey, before we move forward, what's your thoughts on Estevan Florial? My guy Pete Seminetti was having a conversation with Eric Kratz, former catcher for the New York Yankees, and he's like, listen, Eric Kratz said he loves Estevan Florial's game. He said the Yankees organization, they just don't like the kid and they aren't going to give him a chance. What's your thoughts, Tace?
I think it's stupid. People will point to his high strikeout rate with which they're striking out anyway. Who cares? You have solid defense. And then people also complained that when he came up, he didn't do much. It's like, well, yeah, because he'd play a game, sit for 4, be a defensive replacement. You can't do well if you're sporadically playing. You need regular reps and regular at-bats to see what you can do. So I felt like people were penalizing him on that, which is really silly to me. I would love for them to give him a shot in left because he can play the outfield, unlike other people that they've stuck out there. So
catch the ball. But
yeah, I feel like the Yankees have that sort of a thing with certain guys where they just don't give them a chance for whatever reason, and it might be the silliest thing, and they waste them in the minor leagues, and then I don't understand their philosophy on some of these guys.
When it comes to Estevan Florio, and maybe I'm just being a little bit out of the box, but it's reminding me, I know I was very young at the time, of when the Yankees had Mike Lowe in their system, right? A third baseman that was on the rise. He killed it in the minor leagues, but they gave him 15 at-bats in 1998. He was never able to produce. They traded him away, and he became a 300 hitter with the Miami Marlins, right? So when it comes to Estevan Florio, hopefully he gets a shot on another team, and he could come back and hurt the Yankees like Mike Lowe did with the Red Sox in 2007 when he won a batting title and a championship. But hopefully that kid gets a shot.
Another one, Jay Buhner
as well. We had Jake Westbrook in our system. We traded him to the Cleveland Indians at the time. But you remember what happened in the 2005 ALDS? Jake Westbrook was one of those pitchers that shut us down. You know, so let's switch it up because we're talking about the front office, and there's been a few switch ups when it comes to the coaching staff, and the Yankees front office came out there publicly and said that they're switching up their philosophy. They brought in Sean Casey, which I think was a good hiring. Andy Pettit is back with the team now. Stacy, I'm going to throw it over to you first. And TC, what's your thoughts about the Yankees front office in the middle of the season saying that they're going to switch up the philosophy? Go ahead, Stacy.
It's your fault the team is like this. The roster construction is why the team is like this. You're the ones who did this. And all of a sudden you're going to say, hey, we're going to switch our philosophy. What? No. I mean, I love the Pettit thing because I know that he's had relationships with a lot of the pitchers. He had a texting relationship with CeCe, with Jordan Montgomery, because, you know, the lefties kind of had a club going on there. So I like the addition of him being on the staff just because of his experience and everything like that. Fun fact, Andy Pettit is the pitcher that I've seen the most live regular season and playoffs. Like I literally saw him in the playoffs one year, every game I went to. It was like, okay, so Andy Pettit's my guy. I'm happy about that. The Sean Casey thing, you know, Dylan Lawson was the scapegoat because, again, it wasn't Dylan Lawson's fault that this team wasn't hitting. It's the fault of the people who created the roster, and he just was the scapegoat, and I felt bad for him. But I like Sean Casey's energy. I like how excited he is about this. I love that he grew out a mustache because he loves Don Mattingly. Mattingly was my guy. I always said that if I had kids, I'd name my first one Mattingly. Thankfully, I didn't have any kids, so didn't get to do that. But you know, the moves are interesting. But again, the front office is just they talk so much nonsense when they should be blaming themselves for how this team looks right now.
No, I'm right there with you. A little fun fact for my own: growing up as a kid, because I'm Puerto Rican, I thought Andy Pettit was Puerto Rican. So my fan fiction for the New York Yankees, Andy Pettit, he Boricua, right? He's from La Isla, right? That's my little fan fiction. But a quote from Andy Pettit, and I'm going to throw it over to TC to get his thoughts on it. Andy Pettit said, a lot of the stuff that goes on is no, he's actually Cajun. A lot of the stuff that goes on is a little new for me as far as the analytics stuff. For me, I'm in uniform, and I'm out there with the guys just watching their bullpens, talking to the hitters. It's just being around the guys and being one of them. It seems like there are a lot of there are a lot of them that are excited that I'm around. A lot of guys are asking me questions. Since I've been through it, I've been right there. I know what it takes to win as a Yankee. TC, when it comes to Andy Pettit's quote, what's your thoughts on it before we continue? Go ahead, brother.
No, I love it. I mean, he's the epitome of a winner. He's tradition. He's a winner. He knows the old philosophy of the dynasty years. He needs to bring that back, and he's a perfect guy in that clubhouse to turn these guys around. I mean, these guys have this lackadaisical, like, oh well, it's we're playing baseball. We don't care. I'm sick of the I don't care attitude. The no accountability, just nonchalant attitude. It just frustrates me. And we've been screaming for this for a while, and maybe the Yankees are listening to us. Maybe they're out there hearing about us bringing in these type of guys, these old 90s dynasty guys. We need more of them in that clubhouse. And the whole Casey thing, I mean, Stacy nailed it. I mean, it's just a scapegoat, and it's just to appease the fans because they need somebody to get fired. And Dylan Lawson was the guy. Hey, the guys that are just not hitting, they're all slumping at the same time. And we've changed batting coaches about 3-4 times in the last 5-6 years.
Oh God!
It's not the hitting coach. It's not the hitting coach. The guys are just not. They're not the right guys for our team anymore. And just appease the fans. When it's Cashman and his roster construction is horrible. He needs to be accountable for it.
Us fans, we were calling for a slab of meat. We was calling for blood, and we got our blood with Dylan Lawson.
We
right?
Sure did.
Was it unfair for Dylan Lawson? Maybe. But when you look at it, we need guys that have been there and that have done it. When it comes to Dylan Lawson, I'm not trying to discredit his acumen. He's put in the work when it comes to working in the college ranks. He's put the groundwork in. I haven't. But they need a hitting coach that's been there at the major leagues and who has done it. Anthony Rizzo was quoted after going 4 for 4 about Sean Casey. He says Sean Casey is an old school baseball mind. He blends so well with the new school approach. So obviously, whatever conversation Sean Casey is having with the hitters, it's working. One thing I'm not sure if you guys saw on Twitter, but before the game, you saw Sean Casey, Aaron Boone, and Paul O'Neill having conversations with the hitters, talking about their approach. And those are 3 guys that they were at the major. They played at the major league level. All 3 guys were all-stars at one point in their career. Aaron Boone, Sean Casey, Paul O'Neill, all 3 were all-stars at one point. Right. So the players are going to respect you if you've been there. Stacy, I always love to bring this example up, but you remember Freddie Gonzalez with the Miami Marlins and why that didn't work out, why Miguel Cabrera and Hanley Ramirez and those young guys didn't respect him because he never played in the major leagues. I know a lot of people may not look at that as a big thing, but I think some players, that's a big thing for them. What's your thoughts on that, Stacy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's slightly unfair because if you have baseball experience, it shouldn't matter exactly where it was, because there are a lot of instances where guys played in the majors, won championships, did really well, but don't make great coaches. So I feel like that's kind of an unfair thing. I know that some people were calling for, if the Yankees were to fire Boone this season, like if they don't make the playoffs, which personally they should have fired him after they got swept in the ALCS, but I'll save that rant for another time. People were talking about maybe bringing Mattingly in, and I don't want that. I love Don Mattingly, but I do not want this fan base turning on him as Yankees manager. I want him to stay the hell away from that job. I hope he never accepts it because, we know how this fan base can be. And I don't want that. But as for the experience, I feel like it's unfair to some guys that the players don't respect their level of playing. Does that make sense? I don't know.
No, that definitely makes sense. No, that definitely makes sense.
I got one for you, Stacy. Who do you think would make a great manager for the Yankees? Who do you think they could bring in?
See, before Boone was hired, I wanted Bam Bam. I wanted Hensley Mullins. I wanted him to finally get a chance to be manager, and I was pissed that they picked Boone over him. But now I don't know. We talked about it on the show, and I jokingly said Mike Matheny, but that's really like a that's just a me thinking he's hot sort of thing, which I'm allowed to do because the beauty of being me is I love baseball, I love numbers, I love watching the sport, but I also like looking at the guys, and Mike Matheny would be nice to look at on a nightly basis. Okay. No, but he has experience coaching a good team. He has experience managing bad teams because he managed the Royals for a while, and the Royals haven't done anything since 2015. But he took the Cardinals to the playoffs, so he has both experiences, and I feel like getting a coach that knows what it's like to be down in the trenches and trying to fight your way up and being at not quite the pinnacle, but almost would be a good combination. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Mike Matheny, but someone with that kind of experience would be good for the Yankees.
For me, I think I wanted the Yankees to give Tony Pena a chance because what we were told, the reason why they let Joe Girardi go is because he couldn't connect with Gary Sanchez. He couldn't unlock Gary Sanchez. If you wanted someone to be able to connect with Gary Sanchez, Tony Pena was a former catcher. He's Dominican, and he's from the same part of DR where Gary Sanchez's family is from. So if there was anyone who could connect with Gary Sanchez at a cultural level and just the underneath ground surface level, it would have been Tony Pena. But Gary Sanchez is not here. Aaron Boone is still the manager. So I guess that wasn't the reason why they got rid of Joe Girardi, right? But no, going forward, Rachel, I don't want to butcher her last name. Balkovec. Yeah, I always have a hard time pronouncing her last name, but I've seen interviews with her, and she wants to be in the front office. She'll rather be in the front office because he says in 2023, the managers don't control the team like they used to back in the day.
Right. No, yeah,
it's the GM that does. So I'm down for giving her a chance when it comes to being the GM of this team. What's your thoughts about that, Stacy, before we continue to the next topic?
I really wanted Kim Ng. I was so so happy for her that the Marlins finally did it because, I mean, to be truthful, she should have been a GM at least 15 years ago. There were so many guys that got hired over her for other teams that pissed me off back then. And she's amazing. And I really wanted her because she has the Yankee experience too. And I really wanted to see her as GM. I feel like they need to go younger.
with the Marlins. Look, they're contending for a playoff spot. Look at what she's done with the Marlins.
I feel like they need to go younger. No offense to Brian Cashman. I mean, I'm old too, so whatever. But I feel like they need to go younger in GM position. They need to do it in analytics as well because they can't have these old guys trying to figure out numbers because it's obviously not working because of the way.
Yeah, my mother still calls me and asks me how to put a YouTube video on her Facebook. You know, so
yeah, like they need to replace like a lot of people and get this team into the 2020s because right now they're still in the mid 2000s and it's not working anymore.
No, they're stuck on MySpace while everybody's on Facebook right now when it comes
to Friendster, MySpace.
Skonex, they're still on Skonex right now.
AOL dial-up.
Yeah.
When it comes to Brian Cashman, and it leads us perfectly into the conversation for the trade deadline. When it comes to Cashman, if you don't want to get rid of him or fire him just because he has been like a brother to you over the years, give him another position, give him a promotion, give him another job title, let him worry about something else as the Yankees get a new voice in there. But we got the trade deadline, which is basically probably like 4 or 5 days away. It's this Tuesday coming up at 6 p.m. They moved it back. Normally it's at 4 p.m., but this year they made it 6 p.m. I'm going to start off with you, Stacy. The trade deadline. I know you guys put out an episode last night about the Yankees being buyers and sellers. For those that missed it, let us hear your pitch on either or. What's your thoughts for the Yankees?
Well, we did a debate. Steve chose buying. I chose selling. I don't really.
We got to be honest with you. You guys did a Judge Judy. All right, you guys did a Judge Judy court. Yeah,
we did. Yeah, and I hadn't done anything like that since my senior year of high school when I took a law class. And by the way, I did win my case and I did pass the bar. Don't ask me how because I was a horrible student, but I did. So my case was selling, and I basically was just like, they need to blow things up, but they also need to rebuild really quickly. Like, I feel like. This offseason, free agency wise, it's not as great a class as people are saying it's going to be. Like, you have Ohtani, you have a couple of other people, but I feel like if Brian Cashman has the money to spend on mediocre dudes, that's what he's going to do. And I don't want that to happen. That's why I kind of want them to blow it up. So they have to rebuild and get someone good into the team, you know, where Steve was doing the buyer side. Like they're 6 games above 500. They're just out of a wild card spot. You have Loizaga, Judge, and Nestor coming back, and that'll be a boost to the team. And it's too early to give up. And, you know, it was just funny because he chose buying over me. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll do the selling. I'll do the selling debate, even though I don't really believe in it. I think they should buy. But like we said earlier in the show, no dilly-dallying. Don't be waiting to see how you do the first 2 games against Baltimore because guys are going to be moved off the board and then you're not going to be able to get anyone good. Like, we need someone good if you're going to buy. We don't need these, like, you know, again, mediocre kind of trades that are like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. No, you want someone who's going to make a difference on the team.
No, 100%. We don't need the Randall Gritchets of the world, right?
Yeah,
TC.
that name's being bandied about a lot. Which
man, and because he makes $3 million, he's the perfect Yankee. He's played in the AL East.
Let's
He's
get under the luxury tax.
Get under the luxury tax. He has great numbers, like J.A. Happ had great numbers in the AL East, right? TC, I'm gonna throw it to you, Brody.
Yeah, I mean, Cashman likes to bring in the Rugneck Odors and try to say that he's going to be the next Aaron Judge, and we're tired of those type moves. He's got to go all in. With Judge coming back, that shows me that they're going for this year. So let's go. Let's buy and sell. I think we could do both. Yeah. We can get a Bellinger and we can sell off maybe a Severino or a LeMahieu, or I mean, if someone needs a Rizzo, something like that, that's actually going to give you something in return. We could do both. We have kids in the minors. We brought up Florio. We have Pereira. We have guys, Traparo. We have guys that can come. Austin Wells even could come up, but we gotta go for it this year. We can't just tank the season and just punt it. But the time is now. Like Stacy said, they got to do it now. Got to be proactive. These teams, the other teams are, they're lapping the Yankees right now. They're out there making moves. We're not wasting time. We're going out there, and it's making them look bad. Cashman just sitting on his hands. It doesn't help his position with the fans. I mean, the fans are screaming at the top of their lungs. What are you doing? Make a move now, and it has to be a splash move. It can't be a mid. Some bench player type move. It's got to be a splash. They got to do it.
No, I'm right there with you, TC and Stacy. And also, we got 60 people in the building. If you guys can smack that like button, let's run it up real quick. As fans, we know that the team, they should be sellers. We know that as fans, right? But we know that they're not going to, right? The big difference between 2023 and 2016 is that the 2016 team, they didn't have Aaron Judge coming down the tunnel. They didn't have Nestor Cortez coming back from injury. Jonathan Lozano. There was nothing that you could lay your hat on and say, okay, these guys are going to come back and make us good. We had to force Alex Rodriguez to retire in 2016. Let's be honest, right? When Gary Sanchez came up, nobody thought Gary Sanchez was going to do what he did in the second half of the season, right? So that's the difference between the 2023 Yankees and the 2016 Yankees. And when you take a step back and look at this roster, we've been complaining about the roster construction. There's probably one or two guys that you could trade to another team that may get you back a top 15 prospect. Gleyber Torres is the first person that comes up to mind that you may be able to get a top 15 prospect back for him. You're not going to get anything for DJ LeMahieu.
He's our second best hitter,
as a no trade call. And that's the thing. Gleyber is our second best hitter. He is second on the team with home runs, second for RBIs, second best hitter with runners in scoring position. So that's where it puts us in a tight little spot. That's why the front office is going to go out there and try to address the needs that they need to address. But I'm not too confident that they're going to go out there and get a Cody Bellinger or get a Candelario. Like we brought up Randall Gritchett. That may be the move that Brian Cashman makes. Go ahead, Stacy. And any players that, obviously Cody Bellinger, anyone else that you've been watching or looking at for the Yankees to target?
Like I said, I was looking at Lucas Giolito. I was looking at pitching help because I felt like, with the way the offense was, if you could shore up the pitching and make sure that the pitching holds the opposing teams down, and then you don't have to really worry about the offense.
Shut out every night.
Yeah. I mean, I would love Cody Bellinger just because the familial ties, because of his dad. He's a lefty. I mean, don't you miss the lineups that had lefties, in Yankee Stadium with the short
porch? Play the outfield and catch a ball.
Why would the Yankees put lefties in the lineup with that short porch? No, let's load it up with righties.
Makes sense. It's like if you're the GM for Colorado, I'm not going to get no home run hitters. I'm going to build my team around ground ball guys that hit the ball on the ground.
Slap hitters. Yes, let's get a bunch of slap hitters and play small ball in the Rockies, for the Rockies in Mile High, where you can hit a ball 500 feet even if you've never hit a home run in your life.
Yeah. And we bring up the roster construction, and it falls on one person. It falls on Brian Cashman, right? Regardless of what happens for the rest of the season, it all falls on Brian Cashman because he decided to come into this season with IKF, Aaron Hicks, and Oswald Cabrera as our left fielders. Even if this team was healthy, you heard the comments that he made. If this team is healthy, we are a World Series caliber organization. Even if this team is healthy, no one gets injured. Even if we're 100% healthy, you still had IKF, Aaron Hicks, and Cabrera as your left fielder. How is that a World Series caliber organization?
They would have all had to have career seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing every year. Him and Hal, you know, we can contend. We can do this. We can do that. It's all just lip service. Hal doesn't care as long as he's making his money. He'll like outwardly say stuff, but he doesn't really believe what heast saying. He really doesn't, because if he did, he'd be more like his dad. Cashman would have been gone years ago. Boone would have been gone years ago, or at least last year. I mean, do you think George, and I hate when people say if George were alive, this would happen, but in this case, it's true. Would George have brought Boone back after that sweep at the hands of the Astros? No. Especially with some of the moves that he made, because there were 2 games in that ALCS that were Boone's fault. He made the wrong moves. He either didn't take someone out soon enough, or he took someone out too soon, or it was just,
After the Debbie Garcia and J.A. Happ situation, George would have stoned this man on 161st River Ave. That's what George Steinbrenner would have done, right? And I know a lot of fans, they always love to go to, well, George would have done this and George would have done that. Listen, I love George just like the next Yankee fan, but he did a lot of moves in the 80s that hurt us more than they helped us. And I always bring this up. He traded Willie McGee to the Cardinals. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, was on this team, and he traded him away. Don Mattingly, if he would have had those 2 guys with him in the lineup, playoffs every year.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they had the same playoff lineup like there is now, back then in the 80s, Don Mattingly would have been in the postseason every year. Every year. The Yankees didn't make the postseason with Don Mattingly, but in the 80s, the Yankees had the highest winning percentage over every other major league team.
I ranted about that J-Hap thing for like 3 months on my show after that playoff run ended. I wouldn't shut up about that because it pissed me off so much. J-Hap told them he didn't like coming out of the bullpen. He told them straight up he didn't feel comfortable coming out of the bullpen. What are you putting in a playoff game? What?
Yeah. Experiments in the playoffs. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
I have to calm down because I will flip out.
Listen, Stacy, that little vein is popping on your neck right now. I see it throbbing.
Oh my God.
But when it comes to this trade deadline, I think all of us fans we are in agreement that this front office, they need to do something. Whether that is Cody Bellinger, whether that is Lane Thomas, Candelario, you have to wake up and you have to do something. Point blank, period. You have to wake up. You can't, like Garrett Cole, he is having his best season as a Yankee. He may be competing for a Cy Young. He may win a Cy Young this season if he keeps going to say, you cannot waste stats. Even with Aaron Judge coming back from injury, you can't waste his prime. Our window, and I've talked about this, Stacy, I'll throw it over to you to TC next. Our window for a championship is closed. It's been closed. Giancarlo Stanton's 33, 34. DJ LeMahieu is 34 years old. Anthony Rizzo is 34 years old. It was cute in 2019 when we got Giancarlo Stanton because he was in his 20s. DJ LeMahieu was in his 20s. Those guys have passed their expiration date, and collectively, Rizzo, DJ, and Stanton, they are all having the worst season of their career. Go ahead, Stace.
I just hate that they're wasting Judge and Garrett Cole, because we were talking about the Angels wasting Ohtani and Trout, and it's getting to the point where the Yankees will make the playoffs. Like I said earlier in the show, it's great that they make the playoffs, but we're Yankee fans. We want them to win. We want them to make the World Series. We want them to compete in the playoffs, not get eliminated in a stupid wild card game like 2021 or 2015 against the Astros and all the losses to the Astros. Like, can they finally beat the Astros, for the love of God? And I say this all the time, they're not winning with Aaron Boone as their manager. They're not. It's not going to happen with him as the manager. He needs to go. He needs to go.
No, I think we're all in agreement with that one. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, I mean, she said it right. I mean, we're not going to win with Boone, but honestly, I think they got to get rid of the analytic team, because he's honestly just going by all the, what's in the book. He's that type of guy. We need a guy that just knows the game and has a feel for the game. We have to manage that way. We can't be managing on what they did, 10 years ago on grass at night. And you got to get rid of all that analytics. I mean, that's just, it doesn't, you can't manage that way. So if they don't, change the philosophy, we can't win with Boone. And there's so many things that they could do, but with Cashman at the helm, it's just frustrating because he doesn't make moves, and the window is closing. You got two guys, basically, Judge and Cole, to build the team around, and it's a bargain basement on the rest of the team, and you can't win like that. You can't.
Back in 2016, when we decided to trade pieces away, we had Chapman and Andrew Miller, who were probably arguably two of the best relievers in baseball for a couple of seasons. We don't have that on the 2023 Yankees. We can't fleece a Chicago Cubs for their Gleyber Torres, their top prize. There's no team out there that is going to be that stupid. The Cubs, they were desperate to win a championship. That's why they traded away their best prospect for Aroldis Chapman. There is no team out there that is going to trade away their prospects for Michael King, for a Clay Holmes. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. What about you, Stace?
Yeah, I don't see that either. And you're right. I mean, the Cubs they knew that 2016 was their shot to finally break that curse. I don't know what they can do. But I feel like going back to what you were saying about analytics, I feel like analytics, if you use them right, they work. But it feels like the Yankees aren't. And there should be a mix of old school baseball and new school baseball, like Rizzo said, because that'll make it the perfect combination. But the Yankees are a little too reliant on some of the numbers and a lot of the wrong numbers. Like I said, they need to get younger guys in and women and anyone else who wants to do it, who knows, who has the analytical brain to run that department. But it all starts with Hal. He needs to rejigger the organization. And Cashman's been around 25 years. He had nothing to do with the dynasty. That was all Bob Watson and Stick. It wasn't Cashman. He inherited everything because all the moves that he made past that point, other than 2009, other than 2009 when they opened up, or 2008, 2009, that offseason when they opened up the checkbook and were like, our dad's dying. We need to. And
that's the only reason they opened up the checkbook, because they knew that Pops was on this.
They knew that he didn't have a lot of time left, and like, all right, we got to get another championship in here because everything after that, all the moves that they didn't make, Cliff Lee still pisses me off. 2010, they would have won back-to-back championships if they had gotten Cliff Lee.
But you got to hold on to Eduardo Nunez. You can't trade him.
Can't trade all these guys that he didn't trade away. It's like, not signing Bryce Harper. We already have 6 outfielders. You don't want Bryce Harper, really? You want those 6 outfielders? You don't want Bryce Harper?
We got Jackson Frazier. We got Jackson Frazier.
You went and got Stanton. You went and get Stanton instead. Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Who plays the exact same position like Aaron Judge, basically carbon copy, just an older version of Aaron Judge. And you bring up the analytics, right? And another thing that's frustrating about the 80s, just remember this, Yankee fans, we had both Al Leiter and David Cone in our minor league system before we traded them away. But another thing about analytics is that I agree with you, Stacy. They don't have the right people in place to put the data into proper use, right? You can have all the analytics that you want, and I keep on saying this, but if you don't have the proper people in place to interpretate the data and put it into practice on the field, you're shooting yourself in your foot.
I know some people from Baseball Prospectus and Fangraphs that I worked with that would be great in the analytical department because they know how to do it. Yankees should look there. Something
just has to switch up. And when you look at Brian, and we brought up the Yankees and the White Sox, Brian Cashman and I think Kenny Williams is the GM for the White Sox. Those two are the longest tenured GMs in all of professional sports. Look at the White Sox, won championship in 2005, and that was by accident. Besides that, they haven't done anything. They haven't been able to even develop prospects. Chris Sale was a prospect that they traded away for Yohan Moncada, who was supposed to be the next best thing. Never lived up to it. Tim Anderson
look at the Red Sox. How many championships they've won in this century with different GMs? They don't keep the same guys around. They retool everything all the time. And that's why Yankees will never do a true rebuild like the Red Sox do. Because remember how horrible they were in 2012 and then they win the World Series in 2013 and they weren't that great in 2016, 2017. And then, the Yankees will never do that. And they need to figure out a way to make it so they can start winning again. But, Stick's gone. Rest in peace. And they need guys like that. I mean, maybe they need some of the dynasty guys. Maybe they can get them to figure out how to rebuild this team. I mean, I don't know if any one of them would want to do it, because I don't know if they were like Stick in that way, where Stick was really good at figuring out who could stay and who would go, but they got to do something.
I want to give a shout out to my brother Pete Seminetti from NYYNewsTV with the $5 super chat. He says, love you guys. Keep up the great work. Smack it, the like button. Hitty, the damn subby for your boys. Absolutely, Pete. Make sure you guys tune into my brother tomorrow. He will be calling the Yankees versus Orioles like he always do. Game season live. My brother Pete always kills it. But go ahead, TC. You wanted to chime in real quick? Go ahead, brother.
No, I think they need to make a decision on what to do with prospects. And either you get rid of them and get
or bring
a guy that's already, sell them away, trade them, get someone else's prospects that are ready to go. Because it seems that other teams know how to develop their prospects and their major league level way before our guys are. Because there's something wrong in our scouting and development that we finally bring these guys up and they're just not major league players. So,
TC,
and then when we do bring them up, and then we hang on to them too long. And by the time we want to, let's unload, like a guy like Andujar, they're not even worth anything anymore. So nobody wants them. So there has to be a decision there. And that philosophy has got to change.
But we brought it up on one of the last shows, and my fault for stepping on your feet, TC, but we brought it up since 2010, between 2010 and 2023, Stacy. Players that the Yankees have drafted and developed, when it comes to their their WAR, we are last. We are 30th in Major League Baseball when it comes to WAR for players that we draft from 2010 to 2023. There's no development here. When's the last time? Can we point to any pitcher that we developed and said, you know what, he was our ace for about 5 seasons under Brian Cashman? Any pitchers that we developed? Ching-Ming Wong looked good for 2 seasons.
Severino for 1 or 2 years. That's it.
Sevy for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, like 28. That was his best season, right?
17,
I brought it up in one of my shows prior. I remember when Ian Kennedy was supposed to be the next Greg Maddux. You remember we got sold that bag of goods.
Ian Kennedy was the one that lasted the longest out of all those guys. Ian Kennedy,
and he actually won 20 games. He won 20 games for the Diamondbacks one year.
Oh, yeah, the Killer Bees. The Killer Bees.
Bees.
Oh, Brackman and Banuelos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just we haven't been able to produce some. We haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Luis Hill looked good for a few starts before he got injured, So
and that's the other thing about it. We mentioned it before with Florial. Like they have good players in the minors, but they don't know what to do with them. And either they're blocked at the majors because people are in their position and then they keep them around in the minors for too long, like you said, and then they can't really develop further into a better player or into a major league level player. I don't know what needs to be done to change that. But, even with Peraza last year, he was fine. He made some really good plays in the playoffs. He should have been, not that Volpe shouldn't have been kept up because of how he did in spring training, but I feel like both of them could have made the team. Like you're parading the corpse of Josh Donaldson around just because you're paying him money. No, Peraza should have been up in his spot. Peraza should have had all of Donaldson's at bats from the start of the season until he got hurt. That should have been Peraza. And I can't even believe that. Well, I can believe it because it's the Yankees, but I can't believe that they wasted all that time on the corpse, pardon me, of Josh Donaldson.
Hey, but guess what?
What about Debbie Garcia?
It's not Josh Donaldson, right? Didn't Cashman come out and say that?
Poor
he's no
Urshela.
Josh Donaldson.
Poor Urshela with that weird injury that he got. I mean, how do you fracture your pelvis on a play like that?
Yeah, that's very weird. Not even sure if he's going to be able to come back to play baseball. Hopefully he can. Hopefully he gets a speedy recovery.
Yeah, but Brian Cashman.
What about Debbie Garcia? How many years have we've been waiting for him to be the next Pedro?
Yeah.
Right? They promised 5-6 years and he's still stuck in the minors and he gets one call up.
Well, he opened that one game for them in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, that one. Even with the Yankees, right? We talked about players that they drafted and developed. Aaron Judge has been the only player that Cashman has drafted and become a superstar, right? Cano was an international free agent signing. Brett Gardner, he drafted, but Brett Gardner was an all-star one season, was never a real superstar, whatever, solid player. But even when it comes to Aaron Judge, Aaron Judge fell in our laps because of that Nick Swisher compensation pick that we got back from Cleveland, right? We drafted Slade Heacoff in the same draft before Aaron Judge. So if we didn't have that Nick Swisher pick, we would have never even drafted Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge fell in our lap.
Yeah.
That's a blast from the past. I love when people bring up names like that, and it's like, oh, yeah, him. And anytime you bring up names like that, it's always that reaction. Oh, yeah. The one they thought it was going to be the next coming of Jesus, and then he doesn't pan out to be anything.
My favorite
Hector,
to bring up is Andy Phillips. I love bringing up Andy Phillips. Go ahead, TC.
No, Hector, on a previous show, you brought up all the past Yankee top 10 prospects, and where are they now? In the last, 10, 15 years? Do we even have one playing? No.
The only one that we have is Aaron Judge. That's the only player.
But he wasn't even the top 10, I don't think it was, or a top five.
No. Well, he was for one season, he was number one in our system. Besides that, Esteban Florio was ranked higher than him. Gary Sanchez was ranked higher than Luis Severino was ranked higher than him. So even when Judge was in our system, he was never looked at as the top prospect.
Right.
Even in 2017, people would keep saying Gary Sanchez is the better hitter. Greg Bird is the best hitter out of the three of them or whatever. But Aaron Judge actually won an MVP over the two of those.
What a disappointment those
Tyler
two
Austin.
were. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, it was, injuries for Greg Bird. You could never really, predict injuries. But when it comes to Gary Sanchez, to me, it was just, he wasn't right. He didn't have the mentality to be a winning player. I always bring this up, Stacy. I worked EMS for years. I was an EMT in the South Bronx. I had a chance one time to work with a lady who was cousins with Gary Sanchez, first cousins. And this was in 2017. And I was super hyped going into the season. And she told me, she's like, listen, that's my cousin, but that dude's lazy. He has a vision problem that we've been telling him for years to get fixed, and he never fixed his vision problem. He doesn't want to have that surgery because when you get that surgery, you have to have 2 to 3 months of not being active because you can't have any sweat go into your eyes. It ruins the recovery process. Right. So he never wanted to have that surgery because of that issue. So with Gary, it's just never had the mentality to be a winning player. And it just sucks because the talent was always there.
It's too bad. Yeah, it's too bad.
I always think of that one hit that he had against Houston. Was it Game 4 at home in the 2017? Opposite field, the double.
Opposite field double. Yeah, scored 2. Yeah. That was exciting.
It's good seeing him still be able to have a major league career with the Padres. Good for Gary Sanchez. It didn't work out here. Good that it's working out in San Diego, but it's another missed move by Aaron Boone. I know a lot of people were saying we should have traded Gary Sanchez when his value was high. I know looking back on it now, I think a lot of fans would have traded Gary Sanchez if they could. But guys, we're getting close to that time. It's 12:11 before we have to wrap it up. Stacy, again, thank you so much for taking time out of this open door policy. So anytime you wake up and you want to come talk to us lunatics, just shoot me a message and I'll send you the invite, Stacy. You're more than welcome to jump on.
Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't yap too much. I get excited when I talk to other people.
No, I'm the same way. Listen, ADHD.
A lot of good input.
Like
me too.
Running through. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
I think that's why we noticed that the spectrum light bulb blinked up.
We're all neurospicy. Yep.
I was like, family. Stacy, just let the people in the chat know where they can follow you at. Give them your socials on Instagram, Twitter. I already put the link in for your channel. So if you can drop the link for the Locked On Yankees Network channel in the chat as well. But go ahead, Stacy.
You can find me on Twitter at Stace Gotts because my whole name is too long. I'm at SR Gotts on Instagram and Threads. Not that I use Threads that much. What else? Oh, I write for Locked On. It's their baseball channels. So I'll watch all the other podcasts and any story that's going on. I have to take quotes from all the other guys and write articles. So I don't usually write about the Yankees because our parent company doesn't have a New York station, but I write about every other team. So you can find my writing on different TV station websites. And that's it. Other than Yankee stuff, I don't really do much else. It's writing and podcasting about the Yankees. That's basically my life.
Nice. And I know you guys do like pre-records. Do you have a set time during the week that they come out, or they just come out after the Yankee games?
Yeah, we try to get them out at midnight. Obviously, West Coast games, it's a little later, but they're usually out every night at midnight. We record the night before for the next day. It's 5 days a week. Although this weekend we're going to be on call in case the Yankees do something. You know, Steve's like, I'm going to be around all weekend. So if we need to go live and talk about this, we will. And we're going live. Actually, we're going to go live on Tuesday at around like 2:15, 2:30 in the afternoon. We're just going to be yapping about whatever's happening on the trade deadline on Locked On Yankees. So look out for that if you can.
Yeah, nice. Stacy, again, it was a pleasure having you on. TC, any last words before Stacy gets out of here?
No, I just want to thank her, for all her input on the Yankees. Very nice, very good conversation. I mean, thanks again for coming on, and hopefully Cashman makes a move, and we and we have something to look forward to.
yeah, that'd be
definitely. Again, Stacy, thank you so much for chiming in with us. Speak to you again. Like I said, open door policy. Whenever you want to come up, you're more than welcome to come up. We'll probably link back up, hopefully after the trade deadline or towards the end of the season. But Stacy, appreciate you. You have a great morning. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for.
Of course. Shout out to the chat. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let's do a little bit of the roll call before we get out of here. We got to thank Uncle Tats in the Pinstripe Chronicle. I had a super chat from Uncle Tats that I never got to. He said Cashman has big D energy, but with impetency. Gotta love Uncle Tats. Got a shout out. Thank you guys all for the super chat. My guy Ruben, Uncle Tats, Pete Seminetti, my brother, thank you for the super chat. My guy D-Rod, who was in the building. D-Rod, what it do? Sean Browning was in the building. Justin Smith is in the building. I know during the show I wasn't highlighting a lot of the chats, but while we have a guest on, I think I try to get to them as much as I can, so I do apologize for that. Craig Smith was in the building. Craig Smith said, I remember Ivan Nova won 16 games and they told him the next spring that he had to compete for a job. Yeah, Craig, that imagine that. Crazy. Yohan Seiko was in the building. My guy Mark Teammaker was in the building. Like I said, salute. We appreciate all of you guys. Alex Valerio is still in the building. My guy Alex, how you doing? Anthony Garcia was still in the building. We appreciate all you guys for tuning into the show. If you guys can smack that like button, we got to give you a heads up. We got some programming switches around we got to do for next week. Next week, Tuesday, Yankees Morning Brew is going to be moved to Wednesday just because Tuesday, Pete is having a 24-hour stream. I got a doctor's appointment that day. I can't do the show. It will be on Wednesday morning because I think Pete is going to take off after doing a 24-hour stream. Monday night, though, before Tuesday, we're having a trade deadline special over here on the Morning Brew Sports. Scott Braun from the from former MLB Network from Foul Territory will be coming on with us. Of course, we have to reach out to other Yankee content creators. Uncle Tats, Mikey Mazza will be on the conversation. Jason from 161 River Ave will be on the conversation. Our guys from the Mets Evening Brew will be joining forces with us for a trade deadline special. It's going to be a good time. TC, last thoughts before we get out of here, you handsome bastard.
Didn't you say there would be an open panel that day too as well?
Oh, yes, an open panel towards the end. Sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me, TC. Yeah. We will have an open panel at the end.
So bring all your questions.
Bring everything, all your smoke, right? That trade deadline special. We're running a 3-hour trade deadline special. So this is not going to be an hour and people won't be able to talk. No, we're going to have a solid open panel where everybody will be able to give their opinion on the trade deadline.
Yeah. No, I look forward to it. I look forward to all you guys joining in on the conversation. We got a lot of fire under Cashman's butt, and then we'll see. Hang on to your hats and glasses. It's a wild ride.
Yep, I can't wait for it. We had 60 people in the building. 40 people are still with us. If you guys can, smack that like button. And like always, we love you. Let's go Yankees. And Brian Cashman, wake the hell up.
Wake up.